This time on Whatever We Want, we talk about
Loki! Episode 2 of The Variant. Yeah, we talk everything from the music, of course, to the cinematography, like with the shot reverse shot, and then some crazy theories about Mobius, where he came from, how Loki in Endgame could have possibly survived. So major spoilers ahead. Spoilers. Yeah, enjoy. PreBanter peanut butter. Daniel, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good, Jake. You know, good amount of sleep last night. I feel pretty rested for once. Yeah.
That's very new for you.
I know, right? It's crazy.
So that means it's going to be a great podcast. Speaking of great things, I wanted to thank everyone for the support over on the TikTok. We launched that, and it's been some good support, so go check that out. There's some cool little highlight clips now that we have our faces going. It's another reminder that we've got a video podcast going, so go over to the YouTubes if you want to see our smiling, bright faces. But yeah, enough pre-banter. Ready for the intro?
Yeah, hit me with it.
You may want us to talk about this or that, but we don't care. We're going to talk about whatever we want. Welcome back to Whatever We Want, the podcast where we, Jake and Daniel, two naturally handsome gentlemen, talk about movies, TV shows, giving behind-the-scenes insights, filmmaking techniques, all the trivia, all that jazz, and more. What are we talking about this week, Daniel?
This week we're going to be talking about Loki, episode 2.
The Variant. Yeah, you just want to jump in?
Yeah, let's just jump in. This was a lot. It was a lot of fun.
What'd you think, overall?
Dude, overall it was great. I love, again, how our Loki, what we call him, Pokey?
Pokey, but I think we should switch that. I think we should call the main character Loki just on confusion's sake, and then the past Loki from Endgame, I think that's Pokey. That's past Endgame, because like in real life,
it's relative to like what we're doing now. Yeah, that makes sense. So in this case, Loki. Oh, nice mug there, by the way.
Thank you for the audio listeners. I got a Whatever We Want mug going here. Sorry, go ahead.
But no, I love like how he's still like conniving and trying to like get around the TVA.
Conniving, that's a good word, yeah.
But when he was like in it and like doing like the research for like the case files and stuff like when he figured it out.
He was so into it.
He was so into it. I'm just like, yes.
Yeah. I want to talk about that because I seriously still don't know like his full intentions, but I think he could be like not turning good, like I've thought that before, but like I think he does care about the TVA. Like when the variant Loki, Voki, like possessed or like enchanted whatever the B-15 or whatever the agent's name was, and then like collapsed her, he like went over to like check on her and like was worried about her. So I think he does like care more than he's letting on, in my mind at least.
I feel the same thing. I mean, we saw that happen more through Ragnarok too, when he was finally like opening up more to Thor and everything. So yeah, I feel like with how he's been caught up, he's kind of letting that show a little bit more, even though he's not knowing it. Right, which is good.
Yeah, but so we start at the Renaissance Fair, which I knew you would like, just because
dude, I loved it. Fair guy. Well, and just like it's it's like Norse lore, so it's just funny how like it like ties into that as well.
Yeah.
So.
I've never been to one actually.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't. I know. I think we've talked about this before. Whatever.
We're gonna go.
So I was just thinking about like other things that happened around this time in the MCU. So this was in 1985. I think another close thing around this time was 88, was when Peter Quill was abducted. So that's around-ish the same time. I don't know. I liked that they played "I Need a Hero" like when things were going down.
Dude, it was beautiful. It was such a beautiful like sequence in the beginning there.
Yeah, I still preach that the TVA just needs some freaking ranged weapons, like because they hold it like they have ranged weapons. They hold it like against their arm.
So why can't?
And then they like walk forward.
Pew pew. Like why not? I don't know. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I'm still loving the new score. Like after "I Need a Hero" played, not "I Need a Hero," but like the actual like musical score that they created. I was like, yeah, this is cool.
It's like has that nice like mystical sense to it, to where just like like in the music it can feel like you don't know what's going on, but like in a good way.
Loki, but it's like new. Like I don't think we've had this type of music with Loki before. I don't know. But speaking of our main man, we get to Loki doing some desk work at the TVA. He feels very settled in very quickly already,
Yeah, I feel he just like kind of, I don't know. He just fits in a way, which is odd. And I also like how after he's messing with the Time Lady. What's her name?
The Time Lady?
You know, like the little clock animated character.
Oh.
And he's like, "Are you alive or are you pre-recording?" Yeah. And she's like, "Well, technically both."
Yeah. But yeah, so then Loki gets that like variant jacket so that the people in the field don't like accidentally mistake him for the other Loki. And that design like is really cool. And I think I've seen some stuff like people already might be making those and like selling them. And I might want to cop one of those. Good job, Marvel.
Yeah, dude. I mean, just the color design and like scheme in general is like really nice. Like that nice orange complemented by like the soft browns.
Well, that goes into the TVA. Like, there's like a theory I actually heard about Mobius in like the 90s and stuff and the TVA in the 80s that like I want to talk about a little later, but like it's very interesting. But anyways, we look at those like Loki variants. What do you think about like all that? Like those like, holograms.
It was really crazy to see, you know. But then you have to think about where are these Nexus events happening, you know, because if you're able to get like a Hulk Loki, like what was going on there?
Maybe you know when he was like DB Cooper or whatever in like was it the 60s or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Maybe Heimdall didn't beam him up. He fell to Earth and then started working with Banner or something like years later. I don't know. There was like one that like looked like he like won the Tour de France or something like that.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
I just like how it's funny how like Mobius just laid it out. It's like Loki is like the most like there's so many different Lokis on the timeline. He's like the most annoying, the most common one that there is.
Yeah.
And our Loki is just there, just like, oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah. But yeah, so then they go to the Renaissance Fair, and I really like that the effect. Like the camera like follows them through the portal. There's actually a channel I follow called Film Riot, and they like showed how to mimic that effect, kind of using After Effects. So like it goes from the TVA through the portal to the Renaissance Fair. So that was really cool. Yeah, I don't know, fitting with the aesthetic of the TVA. And then what do you think of it's the play here to like stall them?
Well, okay, Loki, like he said later on, he's trying to get things to Redline. At least he's saying he wants to get things to Redline, because then once it gets there, I mean, he's like,
there's so many hidden agendas.
I could do my own stuff, you know, and that makes sense. So it was funny to see him try to push Mobius that far to the point where he's just like, you know what? Nah, we're good. Which is weird to think about, like how that would get to the Red Line from them sitting in the tent, and then from there it would just go off.
Well, it's not. I don't think it's the act of them sitting in the tent. I think it's like, so there was like a variant already. Something happened that like Loki made happen, like the variant Loki, the female Loki, which we find out. And so like she could have like we said last time on the Renaissance Fair, like put ketchup instead of mustard on a hot dog, and that's causing like the variant. But they're just hanging out in the tent looking at what happened to the agents after the variation happened. So the variant like could be just a normal person already. That could be like cascading, like kind of snowballing out of control. It's not the act of them sitting in the tent, if that makes sense, I think.
No, I get what you're saying, but at that point the variant was what we're gonna call the other Loki. Are we gonna call him Foki?
Voki, yeah.
Yeah. Wait, Voki or Foki?
Voki, variant Loki.
Okay, that works. So Voki was gone by then. So it's like the real reason why it was climbing was because like the Nexus event already happened. Like they were there.
Yeah. So it was like snowballing, and it was like things were happening that once it reached like a certain point, we wouldn't be able to like reverse it. The variation like already happened. Like Voki caused that, which brought the TVA in. I'm a little confused. What don't you understand?
No, I'm just trying to. I'm not confused. I'm just trying to think about what would be, like when you like what would be the thing that crosses the red line. Like would like a little girl like walk into the tent and be like, "Oh my gosh!"
Oh no, I don't think it's like an event that like that's when. I think it's just like a certain amount of time after the initial variation happens.
True. Okay, that
and like I don't know what's gonna happen when it redlines. What we'll probably see like next episode.
Oh, we're definitely gonna see it next episode.
Yeah. But yeah, so then Mobius like is brought into that lady's office, like the judge lady, Ravonna or her name or something like that. I saw a theory, and I am kind of interested. I heard that some people think that the 3 timekeepers like don't even exist, like because Mobius has never met them. Only the judge lady, like Ravonna, whatever her name is, met them. So like I still feel like there's something going on there. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, there's other celestial entities that we also haven't talked about. Like these timekeepers, I'm not familiar if they're even in comics or not. But I do know that we do have infinity and eternity and like the living tribunal to any effect. So if it's some like play on that, I don't know. Or if they're using like the 3 timekeepers here as like a cover for those characters. Something. Yeah.
That kind of gets me into my point about Mobius. Like, so in the comics, I saw another video. Mobius is like Owen Wilson's character is like the main, like one of the main like agents, and all the other like agents in the TVA are like clones of him, kind of thing. So I don't know if that's like kind of the case they're going with here, but I think there's something. I saw some people theorizing about the jet ski. Like it seemed like a nice little nod might lead to like jet ski later, but some people are saying like it might lead to like hint at more something with Mobius, because so Mobius, actually the character in the comics, was based on a Marvel writer from like the 50s and 60s actually, when he was introduced, and that actual real life person passed away like in the 90s. So people are theorizing this could be some sort of like tribute to him, like where that's why he's like fascinated by all these things in the 90s, like the jet ski, and actually the soda he has was like a brand of soda. When like Loki was doing the whole salad thing, was a brand of soda that was like very popular just during the 90s. So people are thinking like, could this be like maybe Mobius? Because we even in this episode he talks about like where he came from in his creation, and he's like, the timekeepers created me. Like that seems just so vague and just kind of like dismissive. Like people are theorizing like maybe he was
like from the 90s and like
passed away, like passed away and then like plucked from the 90s, and like it even hints like Renaissance literally means rebirth, and that's where like this took place today.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
So there's like a lot of things pointing in that direction. It could be a stretch, but I just thought it was an interesting kind of theory. I don't know.
No, I agree. I think that'd be a cool way if they followed on with that. You know, I mean, it'd be classic MCU fashion where they take something and they tweak it just slightly. Yeah. Also, like hint stuff. So, like, it makes sense. Like, I could totally see that being what they're doing.
That theory also led to someone theorizing that. So, you know, we're now calling it past Loki from Endgame. Loki is like Loki. So that Loki could have possibly survived the Thanos' death, because we've now seen, like, especially, you know, in that scene when they're about to go into battle and he's describing like his powers. He's like image projecting and like whatever the other one is, they're 2 different things. Like one's like a copy of yourself, like actual like molecules. So there's a theory that like Loki from this timeline somehow gets back into the MCU timeline and plays out his days. And when he gets to Endgame, he like projects himself, Thanos kills him, and then he doesn't pass away because he's like hidden, and the TVA wouldn't know that because it's like an apocalypse event. Like all of Asgard was wiped out there. That was like still technically like within Ragnarok. So like he could have hidden there, and the TVA not known. That's why like the tape ends, and he could live beyond that. And there's a theory that like he lives beyond that, and so that the TVA doesn't find him, he disguises himself as a female Loki and then goes to take down the TVA now that he's hidden. So like I was like, what? Like that could be insane. Does that make sense? Like, you know what I'm saying?
No, I get what you're saying. That's so crazy. But then, like, why would he or she go and
go after the TVA?
Yeah, that goes to motive.
Because he like the free will. Like he wants free will, and he knows the TVA's doing that. That's why I think like in the end of this episode, when Loki, female Loki, Voki, is talking to like regular Loki, and Loki's trying to convince her to be like, hey, join me, let's go talk to the TVA guys and like get on their good side, influence them. She's like, no, I'm taking down the TVA because I want like these branching timelines so people can actually have free will, kind of thing, and so I can have free will. Like she's thinking, that's why she kind of like scoffs at him in my mind, in this theory's eye, is that like she wants to like just take down the TVA entirely, and Loki's kind of still set on like manipulating. She's like, think bigger, kind of thing. And that's why I think at the end, I think she intentionally left the door open, because it's like open for a long time while Loki's contemplating. As soon as he steps through, it shuts. Yeah. So I think she still wants something to do with him. And it's just like blowing my mind. Like, I don't know what your thoughts are on all that.
No, I agree. I mean, it's definitely, again, like I said before, the big argument for this series is going to be destiny versus free will.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see that those points are like literally being hit head to head with two different Lokis.
Yeah, true.
So,
I also want to say I can't take credit for that entire theory. Like Super Carlin Brothers did a lot of work on that. You should check out their video and stuff. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just so wait, hold on. Take me back for a second. So how would so it's an apocalypse level event at Ragnarok, right? And we have
and when Thanos, because like it says in the event, like on the paper we see like the entire extinction of the people of Asgard. That extinction didn't happen until Thanos wiped them out. Like they were escaping. So the extinction didn't happen until Thanos came. So I think they're including that in the event of Ragnarok is like when they escape Asgard, and right after they escape, Thanos comes and wipes them out. Like all of Asgard's pretty much dead except for the few people that remain in New Asgard on Earth. So I think it's like an apocalypse level event. Like it literally was said Ragnarok was like an apocalypse level event. So if Loki, like, and it said 0 variance energy detected. So this Loki could hide in that, not be detected as a variant, and then escape and plan to do the TVA thing and like hide in other apocalypse.
I get that, but where's the origin of this Loki in that case? Like
they're saying that it's like a kind of like a time loop. Like Endgame Loki becomes variant Loki. Like Endgame Loki after is like gets fake choked out by Thanos, is like hiding in a corner somewhere, like jettisons off before the ship actually explodes, and then like uses one of his powers or just like or somehow like alters his appearance so that he's not detectable as easily as Loki that we know.
Okay, I get it now. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. That could be cool. It probably is completely off, but I don't know. There was an interview with Tom Hiddleston that apparently like things get kind of flip in episodes like 4 and 5, like things get crazy. So like I think the next episode is going to be kind of like we're going to see what the aftermath of this episode is, like what all these branching timelines is going to do, and like kind of like Loki sitting down with Voki and a big like kind of explainer episode, just figuring out what's happening maybe, and then 4 and 5 things are going to get real maybe. I don't know. That was a lot of talking about but
do you think there would be like again like an army of Lokis or something like that? Or do you think they're just going to try to like let all the, because again we know Loki's going to be the most common like thread, you know?
An
like,
army of Lokis.
Like
maybe that'd be cool.
That'd be cool to see. Which then leads me to my next question: where do you think Voki dropped off the time resetters at?
Well,
and what do you think
there's
they
a
were
list
programmed to do?
That's what I wanted to know, because usually they're just set to like reset.
The
so like wouldn't it
timeline.
just like not do anything? Like wouldn't it just like reset nothing? But so that she might have like reverse engineered it. Yeah, or like wired it to do something. But I actually wrote down the locations like on the TVA list that was like scrolling of like the places that she bombed. And so it was August 3rd, 5052 was Vietnam. There's Portugal, Vormir, 2301, like which is where like the Soul Stone was. I'm pretty sure that was Vormir, right?
Mm-hmm.
Asgard was bombed in 2004. Italy in 1390. Sakaar, which we saw from Ragnarok, that was bombed in 1984. Ego, so like from Guardians of the Galaxy 2 in 1382. Titan in 1982, which I think is like around the time that probably Thanos' people were maybe dying out, or like maybe right after the aftermath of that. I'm not really sure. I don't know what variant that caused. Japan,
in 1982, I feel like they would have been dead a long time.
Really? How long do you think Thanos has been like on his quest?
Hundreds, if not thousands of years, relative to us.
Really? Oh, I didn't know how long Thanos was old.
Think about what the architecture and stuff was like on Titan. Like it was
True.
long destroyed, and that's not just like 40 years.
True. Xandar from Guardians of the Galaxy was also bombed. Beijing and Madrid, and it's a bunch of places. I feel like we could be in future episodes like kind of exploring those places, or maybe even next episode going to a few places and like looking at like what happened. I don't know like what the charges did like to cause like a variant. Like I don't know how she like reverse engineered that or whatever.
Yeah, and we know that also technically couldn't stop the TVA from doing, because like Loki said before at the beginning of the episode, why don't you just go back to before the thing started and then reset it there? That doesn't work that way because the Nexus event already happened. So you got to go and snip in the bud.
Yeah,
it's weird. I feel like they would have had to have been like reverse engineered in that sense to like keep whatever Nexus event happened going.
Yeah. Okay.
Or, well, no, because it would have already been nipped. I was like, what if there's like a Nexus event that happened, but then it was already... never mind.
I don't know.
So yeah, I would have had it... I don't know. I guess we're going to see. So that's going to be cool to see.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about a few filmmaking things. Like when Loki's in like the Great Library and like reading about Ragnarok, there was a really cool shot, like extreme close up of his eyes, reacting to that, and it was cool to see him like tear up about that and like show he actually cared. But yeah, I thought that was a really cool shot again with the music, and then also there was a couple of cases when he and Mobius were just like sitting at tables across from each other talking. It's a very simple just shot reverse shot, which basically means like me looking like one way and then shot of like the other person looking the other way. But they centered it so like each character was like directly in the center of the frame, so every time it cut, like your eyes didn't really have to move, which I thought was interesting because we're talking about like kind of complex stuff. So I feel like them keeping them centered in the frame, just one less thing that your eyes have to do, like jumping back and forth while also processing like all this time,
all the stuff that
jargon.
they're talking about.
Yeah. So I think that was, I don't know if that was intentional, but I thought that was really good filmmaking technique. Yeah.
No, I agree. It's nice to keep things visually simple when things are getting super complex and heavy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. Also, so sorry, going back to like Mobius and that theory of like him being plucked from the 90s or whatever, there's other like hints to that in the next scene when he goes back to the office to talk to the lady. Like, so, you know, he's like, oh, you have other like people on the side kind of thing, like other agents on the side, like, and he's never met them. And he also doesn't really remember those rings, like the rings that the coaster makes, like, or like that when he doesn't use a coaster, his soda makes, like a Mobius, like is like a endless like ring, like circle kind of weird shape, right? So that could be hinting that like maybe it's like him and he doesn't remember because he's like a copy or something. I don't know.
That could be.
Yeah. Then they go to Pompeii.
That was so funny, dude.
Yeah, I thought Tom Hiddleston did a really good job. I love how Owen Wilson's first reaction was like, "Do you want any bird calls?" Caw, coo, coo. Like what? I don't know.
But no, it makes total sense. Like the only way that you'd be able to cause a Nexus event from a catastrophe like that would be because again, how they said that there'd be no casualties, or not,
right.
no casualties, no survivors. Complete opposite.
But yeah.
You'd have to like save somebody, and then that,
right.
But at the same time, if you're going to be Voki, you're not going to want to do that because that's just going to help you hide. So
true.
It still makes perfect sense. You know, I always like that. I also like how Loki was able to figure that out like instantly.
Yeah.
You know?
And it makes sense too. Like it's a tough kind of concept, like time and all that, but like I feel like the MCU has done a decent job of kind of describing time since Endgame because like that it can be like kind of a hard concept to grasp, and if the audience doesn't get it, they're really gonna just like not be invested in the story. I also thought another thing leading to the theory that like the 3 timekeepers don't exist was like Mobius's answer when Loki asks like how does it all end. Like Mobius is like they're still working on that. Like that's such like a vague answer, and like what does that mean? Like they're still like unraveling the sacred timeline. It just I don't know, seems interesting, you know?
Well, here's the thing that goes along into that, right? Because remember what I said before on the last episode where technically every possibility is already existing?
Yeah.
In this case, the 3 Time Lords, is what I'm going to call them now, the 3 wise time men,
okay.
They're not really doing anything but filtering out anything, not doing anything but filtering out variants from whatever the sacred timeline is.
Gotcha.
Right? Which is, again, those are things that we already know because it's what they're designed to do. But the sacred timeline in all of its extent technically already exists.
Right. They just are figuring out which one is the path, I guess.
Yeah.
So they have to go through like every decision. So I wonder like how far they've gotten because like according to that list, I think like 2,300 something was like the furthest. 2,301 I think was the furthest date in the future on this list at least that like a variation happened. Yeah. So they're at least to there, according to this, if they're real, which I don't think they are.
Yeah. And pretty much the only way that you can get to the very end, right?
Yeah.
What was Mobius saying? He was saying until everything's unified and everything's in order. But in that case, again, it's just proving that there's no free will, which means really probably just end in the heat death of, or the expansion death of the universe, right? Because that's the only way there'd be no more variants.
True.
So
yeah, like when there could be no more decisions, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So in any sense, the sacred timeline is nothing more than trivial, dependent upon these three characters, if they exist.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So they jump to before they jump to 2050, I just want to comment again on the TVA's design. I think it's really cool, just the green and gray like dull color palette, and then with like hints of orange as like highlights that like help you focus and like on what's happening. Like when they're sitting across the table the second time, Mobius has like a very bright orange cup, and in his shot that like draws you into him, and then Loki has just his orange patch on his one shoulder, kind of drawing you into him. And everything else is like gray and green. So like, I don't know. I just really like the design of it. It's very like 80s technology, which again leads to, I think, the theory about Mobius. Like he's enamored by stuff in the 90s, even though like he's in the technology from the 80s, like he's drawn to the 90s stuff. So I don't know. Yeah. But then Kablooey Candy, they jump to 2050 to Roxcart, the superstore, which I think Roxcart, like there was like a Rox something in Iron Man 1 actually in the comics.
Roxxon.
It's like Roxxon. It's like, what is it? It's like an energy something?
Yeah, so it's funny because that was actually one of the major points in what was it, the new Spider-Man game? Spider-Man Miles Morales. Because in short, Roxxon is just another type of power company, but the way that they do it is through different evil ways, pretty much. So like in the Spider-Man game, they're
evil
using, like,
Walmart.
Yeah, pretty much. So this is just a division of Roxxon, I'm assuming, in the future. Which is kind of cool. So what I like here with how they designed this part in time, with it being 2050, it seemed like the perfect design for it to be between where we are now and like 2099.
2099?
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Yeah.
It was like you're starting to see like the holograms, like the fancy stuff, you know. But like we're still like, you know, you're still going to Roxcart or Rox, whatever the store is called.
Roxanne. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So then we get the Loki Voki face off through B-15 and Randy. I feel like it, like as that actor, like those actors, just it'd be so cool, but also so stressful to play Loki, even just for like a few minutes, because that character is like so beloved, but like you like don't want to mess it up, you know? Like
yeah, exactly. Like okay, I gotta be Loki, but I'm also not Loki. I'm being possessed by Loki.
Voki, yeah.
I'm Voki, and I'm like doing my thing, but then this other Loki shows up.
But
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you're like,
I wonder if they did a similar thing like what they did with Cap, where they had like the girl actress, I don't know her name, like perform the scene, the other actors watch them and they mimic that, but I don't know, maybe we won't find that out for a while till the documentary comes out. Yeah. So what do you think is the next step of Voki's master plan now that she's like bombed the timeline? Is she just trying to like draw the resources out, maybe like the TVA, so that they're weak, like, and then she could jump in internally and like take it down or something?
Well, here's the thing.
Actually, I just thought that could be something, maybe.
We're going to be getting back into a multiversal war, as it was defined.
True.
So, the way...
But is that what she wants? Like, or is that just like a side effect of she has to distract them, that's the only way to do it? Her real plan is to like jump back to TVA and take down the 3 timekeepers. Like,
again, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what her motive is. That's the thing. I mean, heck, her motive could just be to cause chaos and mischief. So... This would be the ultimate. This would be the ultimate way to do it, because you're literally screwing up literally all of time.
Yeah, that would throw a wrench into things.
So, but here's the thing, though. Here's what would make this one different. The multiversal war that was described in the beginning, those timelines were technically all going on at the same time. You had the Big Bang, and then they're all from the same origin point.
Exactly.
The way this is being done now. We have this sacred timeline, but now we're branching off in all different ways, to where now the multiverse is going to be branching off into all these different...
Right. So is this a way to like make the multiverse like not as drastically different as it could be? Like Marvel is like, we want a multiverse, but we want just like subtle changes? Or... But also, we again talked about last week, like the differences between like a multiverse and like a timeline. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
different timelines with different.
This would be more like the extreme of the what ifs.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So like, what if this happened instead of that's literally what we're playing with right now.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
I don't know. I wonder if this was actually going to lead into the what if. When did the animated what ifs come out?
I don't know.
Is that a thing? Yeah.
Yeah, they're a thing.
Well, I know they're a thing, but like
into the what ifs. Marvel what if release August 2021. That is very soon after this.
I called it. So this is going to not only lead into Multiverse of Madness, but yeah, it's going to lead into Mom, but also it's going to lead into the what ifs.
And Hawkeye is supposed to be, I don't know when Hawkeye is supposed to come out. Late 2021 it says. It says Ms. Marvel's also late 2021. I am very excited about that project.
So.
All right.
Yeah, it's just weird to think about that because we're still going to have the sacred timeline, right? But again, at that point, like I said before, it's just going to be trivial. It's going to be trivial compared to all the other ones.
Yeah, and I feel like one being called sacred, like the other ones, I don't know, if I was told I was not on the sacred timeline, I'd be like, well, says who? Like, I feel like this is a fine timeline. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, that could lead to some weird things.
Well, yeah, at that point, you can't really tell which one's the original.
Ooh. True.
The timeline is being altered. Time traveler's paradox in a way. You go back, you change time, right? And now you got a new timeline.
Yep.
Say you want to go forward in time. Can you do that?
Oh, because it like hasn't been discovered yet?
Exactly. Has the future happened yet?
I feel like I don't know, because I mean, I don't think we've even seen, besides the TVA, we haven't seen people time travel into the future. Like in Endgame, they just went back to where they were. They've never even tried to go to the future. I don't know. Time travel's weird, man.
But no, that's different. That's still different because that's still in the sacred timeline, which we can see it's already happened because we've seen from the events in the show where they went to 2050 and there's other dates in the future.
I feel like you can go in the... Actually, no.
I believe... Okay, so here's my thing. Going back to my theory of everything, technically.
Okay. The Theory of Everything by Daniel Cardona.
Everything already exists. So even if you go back and do a change and go forward, that's something in space-time that already is a variant that exists. So again, going back to my theory of how TVA is dealing with all these variants, is they're literally just going through and they're saying, hey, this branch, this only exists as far as we were able to nip it.
Okay.
So that's still, like, you could still go if you had fifth dimensional time travel.
Yeah.
Wait. No, sixth dimensional time travel.
Okay.
Then you'd be able to go back to that point. And the reason why I say sixth dimensional is because we have 3 spatial dimensions. We have 1 traversal in time. We're going forward in time, right? If we had 2-dimensional time travel, we can go forward or back. That's like Endgame. Okay.
Gotcha.
That'd be 2 time, 3 spatial. So that's 5th dimensional, technically. 6th dimensional would be able to technically go into 3 dimensions time-wise, so you could then choose to go back to like a Nexus event, technically.
Gotcha. Okay. Well,
it's something I thought about a lot.
Yet. No, yeah, that's cool. I'd love to hear other people's thoughts too. If you want to leave a review or drop a comment on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. But anyways, I want to comment one last time on the music, especially right at the end, like when he was like contemplating going through the door and like Owen Wilson was like sprinting down the hall. I was like, wow. But yeah, I thought that was really good. So yeah, I think next episode we're probably gonna see the repercussions of what just happened, and it's gonna get good. Do you have anything else you want to talk about before we jump into patron shout-outs? Kablooey.
I just wonder how things are gonna happen with, I don't know, other time warping entities like Doctor Strange. I mean, we're gonna see that.
And even in Ant-Man, I think it's been confirmed. Ant-Man 3, it's like Kang the Conqueror, like he's like a time guy too. I'm pretty sure it's been like kind of, I don't know if it's been confirmed or rumored, but there's been talks that he's like a time traveler. Is gonna be like the villain of that. So, and that's coming up soon. So I don't know.
That's cool.
All right, ready for patron shoutouts?
Yeah, hit me with them.
Cue the Epic Star Wars music. Boosh. We've got patron Lori, Frank, Rick, Evan, Tony, Lisa. Thanks so much for listening to Tier. Thanks to the shout out. If you want to support us over on Patreon, the link is down in the description. We really appreciate it. You get episodes early, and I occasionally send you special messages and special, cool, amazing things. Yeah, leave a review on Apple Podcasts if you'd like. Sorry, I'm just checking to see if we've gotten anything. I don't think we have any reviews, which is totally fine.
Please leave reviews.
Yeah, so check out the TikTok. That'd be amazing. Doing a lot of work is going into that. Thank you. Yeah. Daniel, you want to hit us with the introduction?
Yep.
When?
We just talked about what we want to talk about, and now we're done. Blah.
Thank you so much for listening, everyone. We really, really, really appreciate it. Yeah, we'll see you next time for Loki episode 3. It's getting good. Yeah, time. Nexus time. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.